We are Makilala TV, the first Filipino-American TV talk show in the New York metro area. Get to know us as we talk to the community leaders, innovators, advocates, and emerging artists who affect Filipino-American life.
My generation is known for being spoiled or impatient because we were brought up to think we can do anything, and many expect to get paid six-digit figures right after college because they earned it. What is it about my generation that is so different from older generations where we need to find ourselves or be more socially responsible? Similar to other young Philams, I started off a path that was rooted by family pressure to be a doctor, a lawyer, accountant, because that's all we saw as being successful. I began to realize that there were other paths to being successful as I broadened my network and just surrounded myself with people from different backgrounds and success stories. I started to hone my strengths and had enough courage to stray away from the path that I started in college. And now, thankfully, I had a career manifestation as I slowly grew into the roles where I began to feel more confident, more fulfilled, and excited about the work that I contributed towards. However, there were some trials and errors, some heartache, some disappointments, which is why I chose our special guests to join us to really explore how these trials are really how we get to those places of success. I, Rachelle Ocampo, I'm joined with my co-hosts Jen Fuhrer and Cristina Pastor as we ask Ron Rapatalo, a life and career coach consigliere, on how do we find our best selves in this new year. Ron Rapatalo gives career advice on how to navigate career transitions and present oneself from networking to interviewing. He also supports others on how to live healthier lives. Ron believes in the power of connecting with others to support, nurture, and develop our talents. And lastly, Ron is also a men's personal stylist through J. Hilburn, a luxury menswear company. So guided by his belief that a well-dressed man oozes confidence, he styles men to define their personal wardrobe style and develops wardrobe recommendations. So welcome, Ron, to Makilala TV.
Yes, welcome.
So,
Thank you for having me.
when I asked you earlier, what would be your life motto, you shared with me, what you intend, you manifest. Mm-hmm. So can you tell me a little bit more about that life motto? Why did you choose that phrase?
You know, I've thought a lot about the why of my life, the why of every situation that I'm in. And a lot of what I've read over the last 5 years especially is about how your intentions drive your behavior and eventually have you hit your goals. So if I don't understand my why, I'm never going to get to ultimately what I want. I may be able to do things in isolation, but I'm never going to have something that's more fulfilling, more meaningful. So what I intend has a lot to do with understanding my why. If I understand that, the manifestation is going to be what I deserve based on what that why is. Sometimes there's a balance of what humility of what that manifestation is going to be and having enough sort of balance to understand it. Sometimes how we get there isn't always what we want, but ultimately is where we need to be.
I think most people's issue is just getting into identifying what the why is.
Yeah.
Yes.
You think that's your why, you hope that's your why, but deep inside, it's not really your why. So how do you like, as you say, you're coaching other people to do that, but how do you like help them? How do you guide them?
I think a lot about people identifying three main things. Their strengths, what are they good at? Or what I like to say is, what are they most unique at in the world? Because every one of us has something we're unique at. It doesn't necessarily mean you're best at it compared to anybody else. You're not the LeBron. I'm not the LeBron James of networking. You know, in my head, I think that. What your passions are. So how do you want to have impact? And then also very important, what are you not good at? What don't you like doing? So often when I take inventory, when I talk to folks, it's really those three things, and then talking about, well, is what you're doing now aligned to those three things? And it's not meant to be a linear process. I think over time, those three things change. And I think that's why people's whys change, right? Like my why when I was 21 is different what it is now as a 41-year-old father and husband.
Correct.
It's the start of the year, Ron.
Yes.
Happy New Year.
Thank you.
And this is probably the time of the year where you get a lot of people going to you. What do they go to you for? What kind of advice do they seek you out for?
Two big things. One, how do I get a job in the education nonprofit sector?
In the nonprofit sector?
Yeah.
Specifically?
Yes, that's my sweet spot because before I developed my own search business, that's where I worked for 13 years.
Okay.
And so there's the career advice, how to get a job, and then there's the, which I very strongly believe in, it's through people that you get jobs. So how to network, and how to tap into people that you know, and how to meet other people through people that you know, and how to tap into other people you don't know yet.
That's right.
And so it's something I think obsessively about.
Do people go to you for health, fitness questions?
You know, it's funny, a lot of that happens because of my...
questions
Yeah,
also?
I get a lot for image and fashion because of my men's personal styling
That's
business.
right.
So if a man has lost weight, a guy's about to get married, a guy wants new casual wardrobe for going out, he'll come to me. On the health fitness side, a lot of that comes from me working out at my kickboxing gym and doing other things.
okay, yeah.
I love sharing my story and what I've done well. And when I see people working hard, I think I naturally gravitate to wanting to help people get more efficient in what they're doing.
I think you and Jen can have a lot to talk about, right?
The thing, the problem is most people, like January 1, when when we went out walking, there were like 10 people. I've never seen people walk the same path
For the first time.
for the first time.
It's like, oh,
It's
let's
like going to the gym. They're just so packed.
Yeah.
I think the problem is after January, how do you constantly motivate them
That's right.
to continue with a healthy lifestyle?
So I'm going to quote someone that I just read, and I've reread a couple of times. There's someone that I follow a lot in the kind of life coaching / personal development sphere. His name is James Clear. I'm actually not the biggest fan of goals, although I set goals. It's about setting systems. I think a lot of folks, when they get to January 1st, they have a goal of, well, it's the beginning of the year, I want to lose weight. I would argue that losing weight in of itself isn't a compelling why for most people. That is a short-term fix. Now, if you set it for where I now have a system of working out, I have a goal of losing weight, but I know I have a routine. And to get into the details a little bit, I'm gonna pack my gym bag the night before. I'm gonna have water in my bag. After I go to the gym, I'm gonna take myself for a nice dinner. While I'm at the gym, I'm gonna do these certain things. I'm gonna meet with a trainer once a week. Setting up a system and having behaviors and habits set up is what in fact has led me to be successful and probably millions of people.
But isn't that the same as setting up goals? Or you're just changing the terminologies, goals and system? Like you have to set up like short-term goals and you have long-term goals.
Right.
But sometimes
Yeah.
it's not confusing when you say, okay, I don't want to call it goals, I
Right.
want to call it system.
Right.
But isn't it, I'm repeating myself.
No,
Go
no,
ahead.
yeah.
Is goals the same as your why?
No, goals are, it's about, goals I often think of, you can call it milestones, about seeing
Yeah.
progress, right? I think sometimes in a results-oriented society, if you set yourself up for a goal, once you reach it, you stop. I think that's human nature. It's like, I just ran my 5K. Yes, I got it. Oh, I don't need to train anymore.
But that's what the generation is about, right? I mean,
Yes.
you have like a, what do you call it? Instant gratification.
Instant
Yes.
gratification.
Right.
yeah.
If you don't celebrate little milestone.
Yeah.
Well, it is
doesn't get
important.
you.
There's a balance. I think you have to celebrate, but
Right.
then if you have a good system, so I have a good system around my fitness and health. I'm not going to talk about it here because that would be a 20-hour show, but I think a lot about how I set myself up to work out every day that I'm working out. It's maniacal. I'm always continuing to think about how to
Right.
improve it.
Right.
And so without there being a structure by which I'm going to hit my goals without a system is
Right.
words, right? I think a lot of people think about, hey, I want to lose weight, but it's the how and the support that are as important as the goal. So I would rather someone have a good system and support. And if you hit your goal, that's great. But for me, long-term sustainability in life is really about good systems and structures and habits.
So when
period.
somebody goes to you and says, hey, I want to lose weight, can you help me? You will tell him or her, or you will ask him
Yeah.
or her, what do you want to achieve? Something like that.
Or
Yes.
why
Why
do you
Yes.
want to
yes,
do it?
Why do you wanna lose
yes,
weight?
yes.
See, we could be in this business.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, I know. We do that a lot to
Yeah.
our friends.
Well,
Yeah.
one question I wanted to ask you. I saw that you actually went to school at NYU for nuclear science.
Neuroscience.
Neuroscience.
Yes, study the brain.
Oh,
Yes.
that
Are you
so
doing
makes
that?
sense.
It does it make sense?
It
You went to
does,
neuroscience
because-
and now you're
In a very
career-
non-linear, exponential fashion, then yes, it makes sense. But that's a long narrative. If I were to say it in 30 seconds, I've always been curious about the body, the brain, the
yes.
mind. And I think that natural curiosity and a lot of the technical skills I learned about brain development, what little is still known, and how I am in my career now, I've always been insatiably curious about people and myself. And so a lot of it is just asking good questions. So the why for me, like I know how to ask why in probably like 5,000 different ways with someone.
That's interesting, but I'm curious about what you're wearing. You
Oh.
you have a pink
Oh.
napkin. Yeah.
Oh, you want to break down my fat? Oh, okay. I love
Break
talking
down
about
the
this.
fashion.
Yeah.
Did you, is that something that you would advise to men?
My
To
advice,
bring out,
yeah.
to break out of the traditional color codes that they use?
It all depends on his comfort level. I never push a guy to dress on something that I might value that he does not. It's really about what's in a man's comfort zone. But there are certain things I do believe pretty highly about, fit and quality. I don't wear cheap stuff.
Ooh.
I would rather
what
buy
happens
stuff.
if you can't afford those?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well, I think it then becomes about what fits in your budget and how you take care of garments, right? Don't wash stuff in hot water when it should be washed in cold. Like simple stuff, like read the labels on your clothing. I mean, it sounds really like
Cold water.
obvious.
Like that.
Yeah, they just
I
put
thought,
everything
okay,
in the-
put everything.
Put everything in cold water. Yeah, I know my mom. Run out, save energy, everything cold water. Like,
Yeah.
no, but
Even
it
if
says
it
warm.
says dry clean, they will still put it
Yeah,
in there.
even if it's
That's
dry
where you
clean.
have to use wool light. That was the hack that I learned is that if you're gonna
Do you offer financial advice too?
no, but
You
I
don't,
can.
okay.
I know good people that do that. I would be
Okay,
the
all
first
right.
to say that you should not come to Ron Rapatalo for financial
I
advice.
was gonna say.
Not my area of
Okay,
expertise.
So when a man who dressed
Yeah.
like ragged or with jeans and t-shirt
Yeah.
come to you and said, okay, I can't seem to find a
Fix
job
me.
Yeah.
or not having a good relationship, and I just don't feel, something's off.
Yeah.
Then what do you say like right away?
I would ask more questions, right? I think a lot of it would be like, well, what do you want to focus on with me? That's a lot, first of all.
That's a lot of
right?
weight.
Because what I often like to get at is at the root of something, right?
Yeah.
Because I can fix symptoms, but why come to me for that? For me, I'm not as motivated to fix someone's symptoms. Like when I think about healthcare, like I don't like going to doctor if it's simply to fix my cold or something. Like, yes, that's necessary, but I believe enough in my own fitness and my savvy to do things that are more long-term sustainable. So with that particular example, it's really about asking more questions. Hey, what do you want to prioritize in this hour with me? Two, okay, if it's about your clothing, well, how do you think what you wear expresses who you are? And just get into a line of questioning. As I hear more, I ask more questions, right? And then oftentimes what I find with how men or women dress, sometimes how someone dresses is about hiding things. So for me,
Just
as
like
a very
today.
quick example is like when someone has gained weight, they will wear looser clothing. They do
Or
not want to
black.
show off their body that they may not be as happy with, right?
Right.
And in fact,
Is that wrong?
no, it's not. But I think there are things about understanding how clothing can fit a body type. Whether you are thin, thick, have short arms like me and short legs, etc., to accentuate things or de-accentuate things about your body
That's right.
to show your best self. A lot of it is just about visuals. I mean, so a lot of what I've learned in styling and fashion is how color and how length and fit will do certain things for your body.
Now I have to second guess everything I
How many
Yeah.
sessions
wear.
should a person have with you for you to be able to give
Yeah,
good advice, something?
you know, some people, it really depends on that person's willingness to implement, right? And so sometimes I have one session with someone, they're really willing, they're ready to go, and they just keep in contact with me. Some people,
Do you
I've
do
had 10
follow-ups?
sessions with,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
You do follow-ups.
Because I always want to hear how people are doing.
Yeah,
I
that's
care deeply that someone is changing their life for the better, whatever
And
that means.
that actually reminds me,
Yeah.
when we were talking earlier, you were talking about your family and how your family has really influenced how you are personally
Yeah.
and the Filipino traits
Yes.
that you've embodied and realized how important that is as you coach others.
Yeah.
Can you tell me more about those traits?
Yeah, there's two in particular that stick out with me. Pakikisama, getting along with others. I think my
That's
mom
very
and dad,
important.
my mom and dad in spades were masterful in different ways of getting along with folks. My dad was the life of the party. My mom was excellent one-on-one. And both of them were really good at not only getting along with Filipinos, but because of how I grew up, got along with everybody. Caribbean folks, Latino folks,
Oh, really?
everybody. My mom was just cross-cultural before I understood that term. And then the second term, which loosely in English means gratitude, but in Tagalog, utang na loob, debt of the heart, is something I take really seriously because when I think about giving and getting along, those are traits I've seen of every Filipino I've ever met in my life, whether back home or here in America.
Right.
You give the skin off your back. You give the best food. You give your best bed when someone's staying over.
Give
So I
up
think
your
about
bed.
those things as career things that I do. I give, I give, I give. How can we get along? I believe fundamentally through my parents' example that they were able to get along with anybody because I saw it as a kid. And I, as an adult, I mean, this is going to sound a little cocky. Maybe this is not as like traditionally Filipino, but I'm masterful getting along with people. People
Yeah,
often,
we can see that.
Yeah. It's just because
What's crazy is that you don't go into life like being raised as someone like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make money coaching people.
Nope.
You know, like you don't get raised to be like, your mom's
Yeah.
not telling you like, okay, be a coach consigliere and you'll be successful. Like
Yeah.
you have really taught yourself to be a master in
Yeah.
that field.
I think, you always look back on how life unfolded and you create a narrative, right? And so when I thought about what you said, Rachelle, at the beginning of the segment about how Filipinos tended to come to this country, of course, fields that had stability were how our parents. My father was an accountant. It's the only reason we got to America because my dad had a job from a university.
That's right.
If my dad was not that of education of privilege, I'm not in America.
What does your mom do?
My mom, when she was alive, was a nurse's aide.
Oh, okay.
But then,
she's gone now.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
both of my parents were jacks of all trades. My mom sold every product under the sun: karaoke, bras,
Oh, she must be
vitamins.
very good with
Networking.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's where we got.
That's
You know what they say? Maganda yung dila. What do you
Yeah.
call that?
apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ones.
That's
But
right.
I
Yeah.
did want to close it up very quickly, but I also saw, Jen, you're holding your book. I could not resist. So your book, can you just tell us a quick 30 seconds
it's
about
a journal. Sometimes we're so busy, we don't take a pause. And part of, having a happy, simple life, or part of my mantra, is that once in a while, every day, if you say thanks, it's part of the gratitude, and figure out what you want to do for that day, it kind of helps. It kind of motivate you. So it's actually available on Amazon.
So with that, I think we should all think about our mantra, our life motto, and go with that. But one thing I want to ask you, the last question, Ron.
Yep.
What is one piece of advice that you'd like to give to people who just can't find that luck, or the right job, or getting any job offers? What is one piece of advice that you'd like to give?
Talk to people that know them well first, and think about how those folks can help them get those job offers. I mean, there's something deeper,
It's
I think,
really
that goes
people.
within that. It's really centered around people. I mean, my own career, every job I've gotten is through someone I know. My sister, someone I worked with, period.
That is true, though. That's
Yeah.
very true.
Do you believe in New Year's resolutions?
Yes and no. Everything for me is complex. Yes,
You don't
in
say.
relation to the ritual of it. No, if it's just going to be something you put on your refrigerator and don't follow.
Okay.
All right. So, Ron, how do we find out more about your services? Like, where can people find out about how to contact you?
Easy. I'm on LinkedIn and Facebook. There's not a bazillion Rapatalos on the planet. So if you find me on Facebook, I have a Facebook page, Coach Ron Rapatalo. I have my men's personal stylist page, Swaggerize Me.
Swaggerize?
Wow.
Yeah, that's for
I'm gonna have to
Facebook
Google
Live.
that.
That's for later.
Okay.
And then finding me on LinkedIn is easy. Either one of those channels, I am obsessive compulsive about communication. So
Nice.
if you contact me and want to ever talk about anything going on in regards to your style, your career, I'm always up to talk.
Got it. Thank
Yeah.
you, Ron.
You're welcome.
So thank you again to Manhattan Neighborhood Network for sharing Makilala TV. Maraming salamat to our Makilala TV team, including our new members, Tony Lin, as our production supervisor, and Melissa Ocampo, our social media correspondent. Let's also give a shout out to our new logo design created by Etzer Rivera, who watches our show all the way from Connecticut. Thank you so much. Thanks again to our special guest, Ron Rapatalo, and of course to all of our viewers for your continued support. Be sure to catch us on Facebook, YouTube, or MNN's Culture Channel 4 every other Thursday at 9 p.m. If you have Time Warner or Spectrum, it's Channel 67 or 1998, RCN Channel 85, Verizon FIOS Channel 35, or at 7:30 on the HD channel, Time Warner Spectrum Channel 1993. We will now end our show with a very talented performer, Mitch Week, who will be performing the song Anak, originally by Freddie Aguilar. Petite with a gigantic vocal range and a stage appeal far from being ignored, she is one singer with unlimited genre and expansive technical variation. She had competed twice globally, and most recently she traveled to the Philippines to represent U.S. East Coast New York City champion for a battle against 12 other countries last December 2016. So again, here is Mitch as she performs Anak.
Thanks for having me here. And before anything else, I would like to invite everyone. Vince NY Entertainment LLC proudly presents Parokya ni Edgar this coming April 1, 2017 at Melrose Ballroom, Long Island City, Queens, New York. And we are all inviting all people in tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut to please save the date and watch. For more details, please call Vince Gizmundo at number 347-705-2967.
Nung isilang ka sa mundong ito, laking tuwa ng magulang mo, at ang kamay nila ang iyong ilaw. At ang nanay at tatay mo'y di malaman ng gagawin, minamasdan pati pagtulog mo. At sa gabi napupuyat ang iyong nanay sa pagtimpla ng gatas mo. At sa umaga na may kalong ka ng iyong amang tuwang-tuwa sa'yo. Ngayon nga'y malaki ka na, nais mo'y maging malaya, di man sila payag, walang magagawa. Ikaw nga'y biglang nagbago, naging matigas ang iyong ulo, at ang payo nila'y sinuway mo. Di mo man lang inisip na ang kanilang ginagawa'y para sa'yo. Pagkat ang nais mo'y masunod ang layaw mo, di mo sila pinapansin. Nagdaan pa ang mga araw at ang landas mo'y naligaw, ikaw ay nalulog sa masamang bisyo. At ang una mong nilapitan, ang iyong inang lumuluha, at ang tanong, anak, ba't ka nagkaganyan? Bakit ba ang iyong mga matay biglang lumuha nang di mo napapansin? Nagsisisi at sa isip mo'y nalaman mo ika'y nagkamali. Nagsisisi at sa isip mo'y nalaman mo ika'y nagkamali. Nagsisisi at sa isip mo'y nalaman mo ika'y nagkamali.